your notebooks, you're going to answer, there are 3 questions there using the pre-image point, and you're going to take that pre-image point and you are going to translate it, reflect it, and then translate it again. So I should see your notebooks out, and I should see your notes out from yesterday. And we're going to get ourselves a rumbling here. All right, so definitely write down that warm-up because that's looking like a lot of problems we're about to do today. So definitely write down the warm-up question. Please and thank you. See a lot of people who should have their notebooks out right now. Or a piece of paper. All right, let's take a look at that warm-up question. So it says, using image point A, that is -3, 4, perform the transformations below. So you're going to translate it, and then once you get that new number, you're going to reflect it. And then once you get that new number, you're going to translate it again. So you're using your answers to push you then to the next one. Okay, so you have to get, essentially, you have to get the first one right. Otherwise, all your other ones are going to be wrong. Okay, so for each one, we're going to perform those transformations below. So we've done translations, which means to slide, and we've done reflection, which means to flip. So this has a little bit of both on it. So my first one there says to translate it 3 units left and 6 units down. So if I am going 3 units to the left, which changes, your x or your y? Which way is left and right? Which way? Is it your x or your y? Which one goes left and right? Your x's. Okay, so if I'm going to the left, what am I going to do with my x value? Am I going to add 3 or subtract 3? Why? Because it's going to the negative side, right? It's going towards the left. So I'm going to take my x value and I'm going to subtract 3. And then 6 unit down, is that the x or the y going up and down? That's the y, right? Because we just used the x. So 6 units down means y plus or y minus 6? 1 down. Minus 6. Okay, so I'm going to take my x value and I'm going to subtract 3. That was not a good color choice, was it? And then I'm going to take my y value and I'm going to subtract 6. Okay, so if I take -3 and I subtract 3, what do you get? -3 minus 3 means you borrow $3 and you borrow another 3. -6. And then if I take 4 and I subtract 6, what do I get? -2. Okay, so there's your first transformation, your first translation. Now, taking that point, A prime, I'm now going to reflect A prime over the y-axis. Now, look back at either your notes or up on the board there. Reflecting over the y-axis means you do what? What happens when you reflect over the y-axis? Is the x negative? Changes signs. Okay, my x changes signs. My y stays the same. So you're coming over here to A prime, and this is going to be the one that you reflect to give you a double prime. Okay, so your x changes signs, your y stays the same. So if my x changes signs, what should be my x value? If it was -6 and I'm going to change the sign, what should mine be? +6. What do I do with this -2? Do I change it? I just keep it the same. So I keep it as -2. All right, we reflected it. Now I'm going to take these points and translate them. 8 units up. Okay, so if I'm going up, which one's changing, my x or my y? Y. So what happens with my x? It stays the same. It doesn't say anything about going left or right, but it says to go 8 units up. So I'm going to do y, and then is it +8 or -8? +8 because I'm going up. All right, so my A triple prime becomes, so I leave my x the same, so my x stays 6, and then I add 8 to my y. So what is -2 plus 8? 6. So my final answer is 6, 6. So you use your answer to push you to the next one every time you do multi-step transformations. So unfortunately, if you get the first one wrong, you're going to get all of them wrong. So that's unfortunate. All right, questions, comments, or concerns? You feeling okay? You guys are awfully quiet today. Not usually like you. I understand, but you're usually a little more peppy. Okay, yesterday I asked you guys to finish on your notes, remember? I asked you guys to finish that last problem. Remember that from yesterday? So we did this paper yesterday, 3.2 translations, and then I asked you to finish this last problem right here.
You sure did?
Yeah, can we check it?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's see if we got the right answer.
Zoom all the way in.
I'm zooming all the way in.
Oh my.
It's a little blurry, but.
We're not going to talk about it.
Okay, well, it's a little blurry, but you can kind of see the answers. All right. That's really blurry, sorry. So it's the last one, number 9. Check your work with mine. You got it right, and if you didn't do it, you better fill it out now. Check. Get them all right. Okay, is there anyone in here who tried them and got them all right?
Me.
This is yesterday's notes, the ones we highlighted. It's the very last problem.
I got it all right.
You got it all right? Congrats. Did anybody get at least one of them right? Okay, good. Did everybody at least try? Good. Good, good, good. Okay, so those were multi-step translations. Now, once you're done with that, you can just push it off to the side. And I'm going to walk you through what you're going to do today for our activity here. Our practice, I guess you would say, not really an activity. All right. Now, paper from today, put your name on it, put today's date. Let's log this. Today's 22nd. Okay, so here's what you're going to be doing today. For numbers 1 through 4, I have given pre-image. Okay, so your original points are right here. And Ms. DeMassa was so kind because she actually graphed the pre-image for you. Okay, so you don't have to graph that beginning piece. But for each one, you're going to go through, you're going to follow the rules, you're going to rewrite the new coordinates, and then you're going to graph it on the picture. Now, if I were you, personally, I would do the rules first and the graph second. Okay, so I would do this part first and then graph them when you're done with it. Because it's easier to do the math than it is to try to look at the picture and do the graph itself. Okay, so that's 1 through 4. I've drawn the pre-image for you. You just have to figure out the image and graph it. For number 5 and 6, Ms. DeMassa gives you the image and the pre-image. The only thing I need you to do for these last 2 is write the rule. So I want to know, how does your X change? How does your Y change just by looking at that picture? Okay, so you don't have to graph anything. You just have to count. How many do you go over? How many do you go up or down? On the back, flip it over. No, this is going to be the first grade of the second quarter. On the back for number 7 and number 8.
Bro, we gotta have like 2 days to do this.
No. For number 7 and number 8, I give you the original vertices. You have to reflect them and then translate them. So just like we did in the warm-up, reflect it first, translate it second. The only thing you have to graph for that one is the final image. So you don't need to graph all 3. I just want this last one as your graph. Okay. The last 3,
Work with somebody.
of course you can. The last 3, we're going to do one example of them together so I can walk you through because this part is new. So for the last 3 problems there, it says we can translate a figure more than one time and then write a general rule for a multi-step translation. So here's how it works. For number 9, I give you the pre-image, your starting points. And so what Ms. Mass is going to do, I'm going to highlight my X's and I'm going to highlight my Y's. Right, just like we did yesterday. All right, now I'm going to follow each one. So there's two different rules that are given to me. The first rule says translate 5 units right and 1 unit down. So I'm going to write that as a rule. 5 units right. If you're going to the right, which one's changing, your X or your Y? X is changing as I go to the right. Miss Massey even wrote it up there on the board for you. X changes, I'm moving to the right. If I'm going to the right 5, is that a positive 5 or a negative 5? Positive. So I'm going to put X plus 5. The next part says 1 unit down. Is that your X or your Y if you're going down? Y. And if it's down, is it positive or negative? Negative. So it's Y minus 1. There's the first translation rule. Did the first one. Second one says, then translate 4 units right and 3 units down. 4 units right, is that an X or a Y? That's an X. And if I'm going to the right, is that positive or negative? Positive, so it's X plus 4. And then 3 units down. Down is your X or your Y? Y. And if I'm going down 3, that means negative 3. Okay, so now let's think about this logically for a second. If I have a picture and I moved it 5 units to the right and then 4 units to the right, how many units to the right did I really go? 9. I went 9 in total. So essentially I'm just adding these together. If I went 1 unit down and then 3 units down, how many units down did I go in total? 4 units down. Y minus 4. That's your final rule right here. Okay, so I say XY becomes X plus 9, Y minus 4. And now I'm going to take my coordinates and I'm going to plug them in to that equation right there. So for my X's, I'm going to add 9. For my Y's, I'm going to subtract 4. So who can give me the coordinates of J double prime? 11 comma 1. Good. So 2 plus 9 gives me 11. 5 minus 4 gives me 1. What about K double prime? 14 comma 5. There you go. 5 plus 9 is 14. 9 minus 4 is 5. Good. Good job. Very good job. Okay. So now you've got 10 questions left. You can go in any order you want. If you want to just do all those ones first, do all those ones first. But again, as you go to do those graphing ones, do the coordinates first, graph second. Okay, coordinates first, graph second. All right, so you guys can go ahead. You can get yourself started. You've got the remainder of the class period, which is 30 minutes almost, 28 minutes. Okay.
Are we just finding the grant after?
Are you just finding the what? You're finding the coordinates after you translate. So the ones that are on the graph are the original points that are right here. So I graphed these 4 points right here. So you're just telling me after you shift it, X plus 7, Y minus 9, what are the new coordinates now? So essentially you are you're adding 7 to your X, and then you are subtracting 9 from your Y. So negative 3 plus 7 gives you what? 4. And then 6 minus 9 gives you, nope, negative 3. Right? And there will be your first coordinate. And you just do that for all of them. Okay. All right. So let me flip back to that other side because I know some people were still looking at that one over here. Right. Okay. And then go ahead and get yourselves started. And I'll come around and help you as you need help.